Hello, guys, gals, and other pals. My name is Leona DX, and welcome back to the Battle Lounge. Today, I would like to talk about Guilty Gear Strive and the impact it's had on me and those around me. Now, I will start by addressing current issues because I know somebody is going to get upset somewhere if I don't. However, that's not going to be the main focus of today. In fact, as of, I believe, 2 or 3 days ago, they had already made a statement saying that ArcSys has been aware of all of the server issues and everything else going on with the game, and that they are working tirelessly to fix it, which is why Bedman got delayed. So they know what's wrong, and they are working on it, and they just need some extra time because of course they do. They launched on Xbox One and Xbox Series S and X, I suppose. And it's crossplay is hard. I couldn't imagine being a developer. That job is extremely difficult. So I'm not gonna give them any trouble here because I know that it's got to be difficult, and they're already working on it. So I'm not worried. I would like the game to be a little more playable sometime soon, but again, that's not what we're talking about today. On the topic of Strive, though, it's been about a week since Bedman's release, and I do want to touch on that a bit because Bedman is super cool. I have not played any Rev 2. I none. I know that I should. I really want to play Elfelt, but I haven't played any Xrd yet. Bedman in this game is super weird. I'm still learning how to play the matchup, and it's pretty difficult. Bedman's offense is extremely oppressive. Between 2D into the Beyblade, carrying you all the way across the screen if it hits, into just mashing heavy slash over and over to keep you in the corner. It's pretty impressive. However, Bedman's a big body character. He's kind of slow. His movement's not great. He does have very clear weaknesses. I haven't learned quite where I should be doing certain things yet. So I've been getting my ass dragged across the pavement. But Bedman is super cool. I also love Delilah just being on the stage, like commenting and being afraid when somebody's attacking Bedman. I think that was a very nice touch. Also, her smack talk at the beginning of the rounds is really fun. What she says to Sin when they interact is super funny. Love that. I love that Delilah is kind of just here. I would have preferred if she'd actually been a character, but you can't always get what you want, and I think this is a nice compromise, especially since I know that there are some people who wanted Bedman in this game, and while it's not the same character as Bedman from Rev 2, I think this was a really good compromise. So, moving on, I want to talk about Strive just kind of as a whole today. Strive was my first real fighting game. I picked up Dragon Ball FighterZ when it first came out and played it for a while, but I haven't really touched it since. I opened the game a little bit, kind of looked at some new characters, but I haven't played that game. I've played a lot of Guilty Gear Strive. A lot. I think I've got, since picking it up in October or November, I think I've put over 100 hours into the game. Probably close to 200 at this point. I'm not entirely sure. But that goes to show, I think, how much Strive has done for me as somebody who had never played a fighting game before. Learning to play Strive was extremely difficult as somebody who was new to fighting games as a whole, just because I didn't know basic mechanics. Like, I didn't know that you should just be like pressing like 5P in neutral to beat some things. I didn't know what a throw was. I didn't know most of these things, and playing Strive kind of taught me a bit about that stuff. Now, I'll start where I really started with Strive, which was actually the 8-hour cutscene movie thing. That was super fun. I really started there. I was like, I do want to play the game, but I see that there's a story thing here and I want to watch it. I sat down like 2 or 3 days in a row after work and just binged the whole thing. And it was super cool. I really loved the voice acting, both from the English side and from the Japanese side. I haven't heard any of the Korean voices, though I do know that that is an option. I have no doubt that they're also extremely good. And it was super cool to see, watching characters interact with each other. Just watching Soul be a tired old man who's done with all of everyone's bullshit. Happy Chaos being an obnoxious asshole the whole time. Gold Lewis being Gold Lewis. Like, the whole story was super fun to watch. And that kind of convinced me that there's a lot more to these games than I originally thought. Because like I said, I figured it was just, I show up and whoever mashes buttons harder wins, you know? But I struggled a lot with that because it's so hard when, from an outside perspective, for the longest time, you're like, oh, fighting games are for me. I don't mash buttons as good as other people. I can't compete with anyone. And then going into this game, like, yeah, I want to figure out how to play it. So you run through arcade with every character, find which one that you want to play. And then you go online and get your ass handed to you over and over by people who actually know what the game is about and what's going on here. Figuring out, or at least attempting to figure out combos on characters that are super weird, like Mei, and getting frustrated. That was my entire starting experience with the game, and I thought that the games weren't going to be for me. But I came back after a little while. I had done some more work. I had played some other games. I came back kind of with a different mindset, where I was like, hey, I've seen videos of other people talk about how you should be playing the game, talk about how the learning experience is pretty steep, and that you should just go at your own pace. So I did. I found the character that I wanted to stick with, which was Baiken. Even though I did play Ramlethal and I did play Soul for a while there. But I stuck with Baiken, and Baiken kind of led me to where I'm at now. And I would not have been there had I not found the community that I now currently cherish so dearly, more than just about anything. I have never found a community quite like the FGC. While it's still got its problems, just like every community does, I doubt that there's any community out there without problems. I've never met a group of people outside of the Bad Apples that, after they beat me 50-0, they pick me up off the ground and they're like, hey, you should try these. They'll help you out. Like, what I was doing here, these things that you should be doing would beat those. You should try those next time, and I'll help you along with that. I've never seen that anywhere else before. So, a lot of really good Strive players that I've run into, along with all of the content creators, helped me improve, I think, mostly as a player, but also a bit as a person. And that cannot be understated, that I kind of changed a little bit after playing Strive for so long. I kind of shifted my mindset and my focus a bit to where I don't play a lot of old games, or not old games, but games that I used to play, because they would make me frustrated. I was like, oh, my personal skill doesn't matter here. It's all about, team comps and whatever, your teammates or whatever. Strive was like, no, it's all about you. If you are better than this other person, you will beat them. You just have to play to the best of your ability. And that really opened up several avenues for me to try to find where I can improve as a person and as a player. Like it's not about whether I've got good teammates or not, or whether the enemy team is bad or falling apart, or whether my opponent like drew better or anything like that. It's all about your level of skill and whether or not that skill is enough to beat the person sitting across from you. And it is so eye-opening to me to experience that, especially after seeing what that skill can do when it comes to Strive. Like, I'm currently playing Soul because some friends were like, why not? The game's kind of falling apart with all the issues and whatever. Just pick up a character new. Like, maybe try something out. So I've been playing Soul for a week or two, and I was practicing some combos, and I learned that Roman canceling into certain moves let you get an extra DP in, and I'm like, that's super cool. I love finding stuff like that. And even like the basic combos, like 2K 2D into Bandit Bringer, like that carries somebody all the way across the room. And interactions with other Soul players, like if you start up a Bandit Bringer, you can 5K them out of it. And other things, like you have to activate Viper early to prevent yourself from getting counter hit if Vipers collide. Finding that stuff is super cool. I love seeing that stuff. It's frustrating when you're doing it in the tower and being subject to your opponent's 80 damage combo because you didn't know that. But that's part of the learning process. And I wouldn't be there without all of the people in the community. Like, without a doubt, I would not be where I am at currently in terms of either skill or headspace. Speaking of where I'm at now is kind of weird. Like, I looked at Bedman when he released, and I was like, this guy looks super cool. I loved his theme. So I wanted to give it a try and see how it was. And it just wasn't for me. Just everything about being kind of slow, not immobile, but mobility being super unorthodox. Having a passive like Bedman does is super weird. I'm not kind of into like the micromanagement of those type of things. So Bedman wasn't for me, but Bedman is super cool to watch, and I'm super excited about seeing where advancements with the character go from here, because, you know, it's been a little over a week since Bedman released, and people are still figuring out what to do with it. So, but where I'm at currently, I put down Biken for a bit, and I've been playing Soul. And Soul feels like you can just kind of do whatever. Like, you obviously don't have every tool that every other character does, but Soul feels like you can kind of make up combos as you go, depending on how much meter you have and where you're at with certain moves. And I think that is fascinating, because, like, I made some stuff up in a game the other day. Like, I had somebody in the corner, and I was just mashing 5S, and I got a counter hit, and I was like, oh god, what do I do from here? So I hit far slash on accident. And I was like, and I hit a DP off of that, and I had enough meter to Roman cancel into another DP, and that was enough to break the wall. And I was like, I didn't even know you could do that. But that's kind of what playing the character is like, and that's super cool. I don't know if I'm going to stick with Soul. I might play him for this month's locals. I probably am going to, just because going back to Biken right now seems a bit problematic, especially for how much muscle memory I've accrued over playing Soul for a couple of weeks. So I'm gonna play Soul for this month's local, and see how that goes. I don't know if I'm gonna stick with him, but it's fun to kind of mix things up. And that's another thing that I like about Strive, is that there's so many universal mechanics, even though characters play very vastly different. You can kind of move around, you can kind of hop from character to character and feel some stuff out. And who knows, maybe a character that released on day one, that you never looked at, you're like, maybe I give this character a try, and then suddenly you're a Leo main. Who knows? But finally, I would like to kind of talk about where I hope to move as a player, and then where the future of Strive is going to go. As for me personally, I am hoping to just get better at the game. Now, I know that's kind of a generic answer, but really, I don't have like massive aspirations for the scene. Like, I don't ever really see myself winning Evo. But I do hope to go to a bunch of events. I would like to go to Evo someday and maybe play in a Guilty Gear tournament. In fact, for this specific recording, I'm using Plus R footage as background footage, and that game is super fun. Maybe I might play in a Plus R event someday. Maybe I'll play Xrd for the first time finally and figure out what the hell Elfelt does. I'm looking forward to new games coming out in the future. Like, I thought about going to, just today, thought about making plans to go to Combo Breaker. I don't think it's going to happen because, I still have a day job. But something like that would be super cool. And I'm really looking forward to kind of improving as a player, improving as a person. Maybe someday I'll hit Celestial once I stop being bad and misinputting Dragon Punches. But that's where I hope to be. It's not going to be a super fast process by any means, but that's just how things go. You can't expect to wander into, Street Fighter 6 in a couple of months and be the best player in 3 days. That's not how any of this works. As for where Strive is headed, I'm very optimistic. Once the servers get fixed and everything's stable again, I foresee Strive having a very, very exciting and fun future ahead of it. Like, we're already teased we're getting Asuka sometime in May, and then Strive was already confirmed to have another season following that. So I foresee Strive having a very, very long and bright future ahead of it. Because it's the best selling game that ArcSys has made so far. So many people wanted to play this game, especially with it being kind of one of the bigger proponents of having rollback netcode and all of the positives that did for fighting games as a whole. I know it wasn't the first, but it was kind of one of the bigger marks on the genre. So I foresee Strive having a very bright future. I'm very excited for Asuka. I am also, this is super superfluous, but very excited for the new colors. I want to use the black and pink one so bad. But that's about it. That's all I really have for today. I appreciate everybody who watched the first episode. I could not believe how many people wanted to listen to me ramble about fighting games. It blows my mind that even though it wasn't big numbers in terms of YouTube scope or anything like that, it's still so many people wanted to listen to me talk about something that means so much to me. So I really appreciate everybody for coming to the first episode. And if you like that one, coming back to this one, you all mean the world to me. So thank you so much for having a listen, and I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend.